Let's say thank you to Andrea for making this happen. Just before I start, who knows who owns the most farmland in the United States? Right? Are we gonna let him continue to screw us in so many ways? Okay. Over the last year, I've learned that sometimes woke is not awake. So, who likes healthy food and a clean environment? Do you ever meet anybody who says, like, I want a really dirty environment and I just want to eat crappy food all the time? Okay. And the last question, who's heard of regenerative agriculture? Yeah. Holistic management is another name for it. Yeah. Okay, so my name is Ron Cabrera. I'm the chairman and founder of the Soil for Climate Colorado chapter. Let's see here. Okay, there are many. There are many systems of control. Over the last year, we've realized like COVID is a system of control. So what they like to do is they like to misdirect worthwhile movements and harness them to pass their own agenda. They do that on many things. They do that with immigration, they do that with women's issues, reproductive rights, all sorts of stuff. And one of the things they're doing that with is the green agenda. So remember this. Regenerative agriculture can achieve the goal of using carbon in the atmosphere to improve soil health without the need to regulate human activity in industry. It takes away the government's excuse to control us through the green agenda. It removes their power in this regard. This is why you don't hear about it on the media. It makes the green agenda a people empowerment agenda. So that's what regenerative agriculture does. Much of environmentalism is dominated by controlling ideologies. And what does this amount to? It's government control, violating your God-given rights, population control, and other disempowering ideologies. In reality, though, many of the people who are closer to the land, the rural folks, the farmers, the frontiersmen, the people who conquered the wild to make society safe for humanity are more independent-minded. Now, regenerative agriculture is a huge subject, so I won't be able to cover everything in this short speech. So I'll just give a brief summation of the concept. For some, it is tied in with climate change, and that is the reason I'm bringing this to you here today. When you hear about climate change, the climate change debate, you hear about regulating and taxing our carbon footprint, government controlling business, regulating how cars and engines are manufactured, and basically they use it as an excuse for the government to control everything. But we want to live in a clean environment, so how do we cancel out that and nullify that control matrix that they're trying to place upon us? And the global solution is regenerative agriculture. What regenerative agriculture is really about is the soil. Civilizations rise and fall with their soil health. It impacts food production, mental health, desertification, land value, independence from government, and the list goes on. In a sentence, it can be described as a method of maintaining livestock and managing your soil, and the livestock is mainly cattle, in a way that existed while they were being pursued by pack-hunting animals long before everything was fenced in and many of the predator animals were hunted down. Part of environmentalism is definitely positive, but the other part is they're exploiting it to control people and giving control to government. So right now the CO2 level is about 400 parts per million. The goal in the green agenda is to get it down to around 300 parts per million. So if they're using that excess amount of CO2 to control us, and we can get rid of that excess amount of CO2 without regulating our economy and all of our lives. So whether or not climate change is an issue, the atmosphere is a source of carbon to improve our soil health. And it's the most readily available source. Some people use other methods, like mixing in biochar into the soil. So if we use 10 billion acres to draw down 200 billion tons of CO2 across 2 decades, that will get us down to about 300 parts per million. That sounds like a lot, but that's actually really easy. I drew down 40 tons of carbon myself in one season just on 4 acres. So on 4 acres, I drew down 40 tons of carbon. So 10, you just have to remember, 10, 200, 2. 10 billion acres, draw down 200 billion tons across 2 decades. And that's easily achievable. It's being done on millions of acres across the world, because 2/3 of the Earth's surface, our land is grassland. So what regenerative agriculture achieves is using carbon from the air and drawing it down into the soil, which creates better soil health. It's a simple thing. Soil health is based on its carbon content. I don't know if people know that. This makes plants grow faster, stronger, and have higher yields. It also makes people who grow our food, both plants and animals, more powerful, and the government less powerful. And this is the main reason I'm discussing this with you now. This is achieved separate from government power, separate from regulation. It doesn't matter if climate change is a thing or not. That's why there's conservatives, liberals, people from all sides that are into regenerative agriculture. It's a uniting issue. The government wants to divide us, this unites us. It's the freedom-loving people, the people who do not want government control over every aspect of humanity, through the corruption of the green agenda, without regenerative agriculture. This will divide up the environmental movement, which is one of the main ways they're using, one of the main issues that they exploit to control us. So, let's see here. Some of the issues that they exploit are environmentalism, gay rights, immigration, women and poor people. They use these things to divide us. They want us divided and not united. So regenerative ag is being done already on millions of acres around the world. This is making tribes, families, towns, localities independent from the government or the need to regulate humans' economic activity. This is the best way to drive a wedge between the people trying to control us and ourselves. This is how we can get rid of them. So remember this, regenerative agriculture can achieve the goal of using carbon in the atmosphere to improve soil health without the need to regulate human activity and industry. It takes away the government's excuse to control us through the green agenda and removes their power in this regard. This is why you don't hear it on the media. It makes the green agenda a people empowerment movement. If we remove the excess carbon from the atmosphere, using regenerative agriculture, it will nullify much of the corrupted green agenda and remove their power to take over our lives. This is how we take our power back. We already have power, but how do we take the power back that they're trying to take away from us? It's by nullifying the methods they are using to take away our power. The power is yours. So this may be the first time you're hearing about regenerative agriculture, and I just wanted to plant a little seed so you'll recognize it next time you hear about it. It also goes by the name Holistic Management. There's a book by Alan Savory called Holistic Management. It's amazing. They also have an audiobook. And then who said this? They've got the guns, but we got the numbers. Jim Morrison, right? So, okay guys, thank you for being here.